Imagine knowing that everything you experience is a reality you are creating. Imagine finally understanding that with the right belief system, you never have to be sick. Imagine never having to worry or have fear about anything because you are in control of it all. What will you do when you find out this is all true and what you have been told to believe is false? It is time to learn the truth. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another exciting episode of Reality Changer Radio. I want to reach out tonight to the parents and children and expecting parents tonight. What I want to talk about tonight is the concept of children being programmed and the ups and downs that come with that. And what I mean by programming is that all the things that go on in your life as an adult, the ups and downs and some of the questions, depressions, bad marriages, anger, that kind of thing, can all be traced back to belief systems and problems with that. The belief systems are programmed by the guardians, the parents, grandparents, friends, parents, everybody that's involved. And nobody's really to blame, and yet everybody is to blame. And what I mean by that is that as spiritual beings, we do exactly what we're supposed to do. And we nurture, and we guide, and we help each other have the best life possible. And that's exactly what we want for each other. However, what's been going on for a long, long time is that we've been doing it with the wrong information. And if you're not sure, then look at your own life right now. Is it perfect? Is it absolutely where you want it to be? Do you feel like you're in control? Do you feel like it's somebody else's fault that you got fired or the person left you or whatever? Do you really feel those things? Because for most people, the answer would be yes. And with the answer being yes, you have to look at why. Now, traditional programming and the belief systems would tell us that we need to look outside of ourselves to figure out why. And that we need to look at the actions and, well, why did that person not like me? And why did that person hate me? And why did this company not like the work I was doing, and why? The reality is, as I've stated in our first show, is that you create all this. And you don't really have an option. 24/7, you're manifesting your life, good or bad. You don't have an option. The option that you have, when you're given one, is that you can control the manifesting, or you can live by default, which is what most people choose to do. Because as little kids, they're programmed to do what their parents or guardians tell them to do. And basically, parents, take a tip here. If you're into alternative healing beliefs at all, if you're into not doing what your parents and your grandparents did, if you're into truly having a better life for your children like we all talk about, then you need to at least give some thought to changing the way that you raise your children. It all starts as a child, and if we continually do what we've been doing, things won't change. Children won't get it any really easier. They'll still have psychiatrists to think about. They'll still have bad relationships to worry about. They'll still have everything except it's going to be a little better because what I call the crap that you've all been programmed with, that we've all been programmed with, is going to be refined, and it's going to be tailored in such a way that it's your crap, and you're going to pass it on to your children. And it's going to be the best you can do. So I'm not taking this time out to blame anybody for anything. Everyone out there is doing the best they can. But that doesn't change the quality of the information that you have at your fingertips. You're doing exactly what you need to do. However, the quality of the information you have is really no better than it has been for the last 500 years. It's built around worries and fears and doing what people tell you to do and thinking that you're not good enough if you don't, and creating self-doubt, creating worries, creating an isolationist system where now that we all have cell phones, you notice how people just walk around and they're glued to their phone because the phone doesn't judge them. The phone does not care if they do what somebody else does. It's an interesting concept to think about, but I'd like you to take some time and consider that. Parents, I would really urge you to start taking some manifesting classes if you're not already. Start taking some law of attraction classes and understand that your environment really weighs a lot on the child. In fact, it actually starts in the womb. The child is affected by the mother's environment and gets the mother's belief system as it's born. The child has no option because on a cellular level, the baby and the mother are connected. Why do you think the bond is so close? Why do you think so many people, oh, I'm just like my mom? So many women, just like my mom. Yeah, well, you are. You're exactly like your mom on a cellular level. Men, too. Men have the same thing from their mom. They have some from their dad, but they also have it from their mom. So parents, don't forget that the environment for your child, good, bad, or indifferent, starts in the womb and gets even further from there. So when the child is small, it starts to realize that as a spiritual being, it wants to be creative and it wants to be happy. The happiness lies in providing the guardians, parents, grandparents, whoever it is, foster parents, with happiness themselves, because we learn at an early age, if we make our guardians happy, they will make us happy, however that looks, by giving us food, clothes, toys, whatever. We also learn at a very early age that if we make our guardians unhappy, they will create a version of unhappiness for us, however that looks. You know, smack our ass, send us to bed early without supper, whatever. So we are trained really like slaves and a slave master. Do as I say, dress as I want you to, go where I tell you to go, don't go where I tell you not to go, like who I tell you to like, dislike who I tell you to dislike, worry about things that I worry about. And if you're not worried, why aren't you worried? There must be something wrong with you. All of these things that we perpetually do generation after generation are the reason that I call it the madness. Because these are the very things that later on in adulthood cause us such angst. Depression, sadness, anger, self-doubt, self-loathing, lashing out to others. All of these can be traced back to childhood programming with fears and beliefs of low self-esteem. You name it, it runs the gamut. All the time during my practice, I deal with people, and when I trace it back to their childhood, you can tell exactly what's going on. And think about it. If you were to take two children, and one child you gave them absolute positive love from the womb, with an enlightening atmosphere and the understanding that they could manifest their reality no matter what, and that being happy was the only thing that mattered. And then you took another child and didn't do any of that. Just raised them normal. Just normal. Even I say it. Just raise them as people have forever. Which one do you think is more likely to not be bullied? Which one do you think is more likely to not rebel? Which one do you think is more likely to succeed with the minimum amount of help, even as an adult? Growing up knowing that you are a powerful spiritual being that can create their own reality, good, bad, or indifferent, is a major shift in the way parenting has been done for the longest time. We need to start changing the way we bring up children so that the way that they bring up children changes. We have the responsibility and the power to change all this. There's absolutely no reason why we should still sit around in the 21st century after we've proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that for the same reason that hypochondriacs can actually create their own illnesses, using those same processes we can heal the body. Now when we admit stuff as simple as that, why is it so far-fetched to think about creating an atmosphere for a child growing up that consists of positive affirmations and loving, affirmative, law of attraction and manifesting principles so that that child 24/7, like I said, you have no option, 24/7, that child is manifesting from the day it's out of the womb. Why not give it the tools when it's first born to do exactly what we're meant to do, and that's be creative spiritual beings filled with happiness, because that's really all we're here for, and to learn. Look at all the creativity. Look at all the stuff we've made. Let's work on being happy. How many people taught you as you were a child how to be happy? If anybody did, they were in the minority. How many people, when you were a child, taught you not to worry? I doubt anybody taught you not to worry. From the day that you're born, it's worry about your grades, worry about picking up your toys, worry about this, worry about what will happen if you don't worry, which instills a fear. And fears only exist when there's worry. Fears are not a thing. They are a byproduct of worry. Without worrying, there's no fear. And so all of the problems that we have as adults can be traced right back to the programming we have as kids. And that goes beyond our traditional guardians. It goes even to our friends and our friends' parents. We're very influenced by those around us, especially the ones that we look up to, that we like, that we have a vibrational match to. We're very influenced by them. If it's something we don't know yet, or even if it's something we might know a little bit about, children are very impressionable in a sense that they want to be part of something that attracts them. And it doesn't matter if the guardians aren't attracted to it. It matters if the child is attracted to it. And if the child's attracted to it, they will find a way to be a vibrational match to that thing, whatever it is. And why do you think teenagers rebel? Why do you think 2-year-olds are the terrible twos? You think that we're born to be that way? Or could it possibly be that the Spirit is telling stop it by acting out, by the only way that it can, by the only way that the conscious mind can handle what the subconscious is going through. And that's the lashing out, the terrible twos. Let's start there, the terrible twos. Oh, and they learn the word no. And how many jokes have we made throughout history about when kids learn the word no? And it's no all the time. And why is it no all the time? How is it, did they come up with this on their own? How is it they're able to speak the language that you speak as a parent? Did they come up with that on their own? Hardly. Same with the word no. We use negative affirmations in an attempt to get children to do what we want. Don't run across the street. Don't go without looking both ways. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. No, 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 don't do that. Don't do that because you'll get in trouble. Don't, no, no, no. Two of the most oftenly used words in bringing up children. Don't and no. And then let's think of the phrases. I wouldn't do that if I were you. Do you know what's going to happen to you? You should be worried about what might happen to you. Aren't you worried about what happens to you? Here's some more. Do you know what people will think? Do you know what your father will say? Do you know what will happen? Do you have any idea the repercussions of that? What will the neighbors think? And here's some more. Why can't you be like Johnny? Why can't you be like Susie? She's a good little girl. What that's translating into is she's a good little slave who does what she's told. Now, parents, I don't want you to get the wrong idea. I'm not slamming parenthood. What I'm trying to do by all this is wake you up to what's really going on. We are creating slaves. And then what we do in a capitalist society, and believe me, I am a diehard capitalist, what we do in a capitalist society is we enhance it by showing them how much we worry about money. Because we've already been programmed to worry about money, because we've been programmed that money in capitalist society is the key to our happiness. And so we create an atmosphere of slave-master in our jobs, in our work routines. I'm going to go to work for somebody, and I'm going to have to do what they say and dress how they want me to and show up when they want me to and be there and like who they like and not like and do exactly what they say, or they're not going to give me what I have been programmed to believe is my key to happiness, and that is money. And it's all wrong. Think about it for a moment. If money was it, you'd never have anything because you'd never spend the money. Money is not what you want. You want the things that money will buy. So as a child, we see all this worrying about money. And one of the pitfalls is the spirit doesn't believe it. And when teenagers rebel, and I'm not saying every teenager rebels, but I'm talking about the ones that run away from home, shave their heads, pierce their eyebrows, talk back, swear when you don't want them to. Boy, where'd they learn that from? All kinds of things. It's the spirit lashing out at all the crap that the guardians are feeding them. And if you were to ask the teenager, they would say, well, nobody understands me. Well, the fact of the matter is the teenager doesn't understand themselves. They don't even know why they're lashing out. Last week, they loved everybody, and today they hate everyone on the planet. And because we haven't been taught that we are spiritual beings, we've been taught that we're physical beings with a spirit. And it's quite the opposite. We are spiritual beings from before we come into this physical existence until long after we leave it. We are not physical beings. We are spiritual beings in a physical environment. And the sooner that concept gets used in parenting, the sooner we can start attempting to understand the ups and downs of teenage rebellion and how to prevent it, how to stop it. Imagine this. A 15-year-old has been taught since birth how to create its own reality and manifest everything it desires. Okay? So for 15 years, this 15-year-old has been taught that life doesn't have to suck and your self-confidence can be increased every day, and then taught as long as you keep yourself happy, no bad stuff can really happen to you if you truly believe you're happy. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, for 15 years, with the right education, this child could be taught how to create almost miracles because we are all powerful spiritual beings. Now, take that 15-year-old and put him up against what we'd all call a regular 15-year-old. One who gets okay grades and, gets chewed out for this and doesn't clean their room and all this other stuff that they could give a crap less about. Which one do you think is more likely to not need depression medicine or psychiatrists or pharmacies? What if the child at 15 knew that they never had to get sick? What about that? And what if the child at 15 knew that if something did happen, they could heal themselves? What if they knew that? Imagine a world where we teach children how to heal themselves and also how to prevent needing to. What kind of a world does that look like to you? When I say the pitfalls of spiritual independence, I'm talking about the terrible twos and the teenage years. We all make jokes about it. We all talk about it. And why does that happen? Because it's real. Because it does happen to almost everybody. The terrible twos and, she's 12 years old, wait till next year, she'll love you now, but she won't next year. That doesn't necessarily have to be that way. Just because most of it has happened that way doesn't mean A, that it's right, or B, that it can't be changed. We all have the power to change the way children are raised. And again, not blaming any parent because all of you out there are doing the very best you can with the wrong information. Now, I don't have to be a super parent to know this. I don't have to be a parent at all to know this. I just have to be an enlightened individual who understands exactly where we're all coming from. You see, we defend our actions so strongly with the conscious mind. Who are you to say anything? Who are you to say this? You don't know what I'm going through, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's all crap. I know exactly what you're going through. You're going through what everyone else goes through. You're no different. Your situation isn't any worse than everyone else. And you know why? Because you're coming from the same negative, twisted belief system that everyone else is. You just have different variables. But really, the source of your pain is the exact source of my pain and his pain and her pain. And because it is a common source, a common denominator exists, and that is the belief system. And that is what is programmed from day one in the womb, good, bad, or indifferent. Now, think about clinical studies. Clinical studies. Let's see. We're going to test this drug against a placebo. And a placebo, for those of you that aren't sure what it is something that isn't. And what I mean by that is when you're talking about a placebo drug, let's say I have something from the pharmacy that I paid $150 for because we know how expensive those things are. And I have a bottle of sugar water. Now, the sugar water is the placebo. However, what has happened over time is that clinical study after clinical study after clinical study has proven that a vast percentage of the people that are given the placebo are cured of whatever the real drug was supposed to do. And these people are no less affected by their ailment than the people that got the real drug. In fact, not everybody with the real drug was cured. So you have to ask yourself, first off, why wasn't everybody with the real drug cured? And secondly, how is it that anybody with the phony drug was cured, let alone a vast percentage? It's in your belief system. The people that were given the phony drug honestly believed that what they were given would work. The people that were given the phony drug and not cured did not believe it. You're not sure? Ask all the people given the real drug that weren't cured. They didn't believe it either. Oh, sure, they'll tell you. The conscious mind will tell you. Oh, yeah, I took that because I know that's what happens. The subconscious mind is sitting in the background going, can I have a chance? Do I get to talk? Because in the subconscious, I don't really believe that crap. But you see, folks, we walk around all day long, all night long, not even knowing what's in our subconscious because it was programmed from birth. And that's where the real work lies. So imagine, parents, imagine if you taught the children all of this from day one and allowed them, not only taught them, but allowed them to express themselves as spiritual beings. And understand that you're going to get some surprises along the way. Can you imagine what the child would be able to accomplish by the age of 15? Given all this information on a daily basis. And then having that information reinforced by you, the guardian, as an example, a shining example of the results. Because you can't just do that with the children and not do it to yourself. Look at how wonderful the crap programming worked because you honestly believed it yourself. So imagine how wonderful the good programming will work when you honestly believe it yourself. It is doable, and we can turn this around. We can stop the madness. And the madness is bringing up children every single day like our grandparents were brought up, like our ancestors were brought up. There's no reason for it. Even science has gotten on board. I mean, come on, it's the 21st century and the Pope is acknowledging extraterrestrials, okay? So when the Pope is talking about having aliens as an existing form of life, when we all know how religion always thought about that, come on, everything is changing. You know this. When Angelina Jolie has a double mastectomy because she believes that she's going to have cancer in the future. Not that she has it now, but that gene that she has that doesn't always cause everybody to have cancer. But because she has it, well, she's just going to hedge her bet and disfigure her body. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean she won't get cancer, because she honestly believes that gene will cause it. And you mark my words, if she doesn't change her belief system, something along the way may happen because of the belief system. And parents, I urge you to think about this. I urge you to just take a step backwards and think about where you're going in your own life. Are you happy? Are you getting everything you need? Are you getting everything you deserve? Are you worried about things that really aren't necessary? Because 99% of everything we worry about is something that hasn't happened yet. So I would urge all of you, parents, non-parents, everybody listening to this, refocus your energy. Don't focus on possible negative outcomes. Use that same amount of emotion and energy to manifest positive outcomes for the same situation. You want to sit around worrying about the bills? Sit around manifesting that you don't have to worry about the bills. Manifest, visualize happy times that nobody's complaining, because that's what will happen. Depending on your belief system, you spend all that time worrying, and you're going to create that thing that you're worried about, because you're a manifesting spiritual being. So parents, my main goal of this broadcast tonight is to urge you to take a look at your own situation. Take a look at the things that are going on around you. What's going on with your friends and your family? Is everyone happy? Is everyone getting what they want? Is everyone living the life they truly deserve to live? Do you have worries about what will happen to your children in the future? Do you worry about the environment? Do you worry about everything? Listen, it's not that you're a bad person. It's just the crap programming that was instilled in you as a little kid. But you can change that. You have the power to change that. And you don't have to pass on that crap programming to your children. You can start them on a different path, but keep in mind, if they don't see you doing it, they won't truly believe it. They need examples of success or failure. So whatever type of an example you are to your children, that is going to weigh heavily on their belief system. And, this goes right back to regular families, abusive families, neglectful families, everything. Whatever type of influence you have, whatever type of example you set, will have a dramatic impact on their belief system. And that sets the stage for the future for the child. More than anything. You can worry about them not being able to get a job out of college all you want. But if your example to them is one of failure, then it doesn't matter how many jobs are available when they get out of college. They're not going to get one. Or they're going to get a horrible one. Or they're not going to get what they want. Because their only example has been a failure. And I'm not saying failure to blame yourself or anything like that. What I'm saying is that you have the power to not be a failure by changing your own belief system and by practicing the principles of manifesting and the law of attraction. These things are viable tools in order to change your life. And you can go on YouTube at any moment and you can look at all the people making videos. I've made a few myself, but there's no reason for me to reinvent the wheel. There's a million videos out there already telling you exactly what I'm telling you. I have this radio show to reach more people. But the truth of the matter is, you can create your own reality. you can go so far as to make people wonder what you're doing in order to get what you're getting as quickly as you're getting it. And how wonderful would it be, parents and guardians, if you were to instill that upon your children, and they themselves were able to do this for themselves? How wonderful would that be? How happy would everyone be? And you know, the happier you are, I'll quote Esther Hicks, the happier you get. And the happier you get, the happier you are. So now you know that you have total control. And it's not just me telling you. We're in a shift. 2012 was an energy shift. You have total control over your existence. It's a heavy responsibility. But once you know you can control your reality, what are you going to do with that control? It's up to you. Parents, I urge you strongly to think about this. Strongly. If you care about the future of the planet, if you care about the future of Earth, give it a thought. Give it a try. What's the worst that can happen? It gets better. Give it a shot. Join me next week here, myradiostream.com/reality changer. If you missed the program, there's always Spreaker. Double check the website. You could click on the link. Until next time, take care, everybody, and much love. All right, well, that's it for today's show, folks. I hope you enjoyed it and are a little closer to living life on your terms. Join me next week, won't you, for another mind-blowing show about the truth of reality. Until then, my reality is not your reality. What are you creating today?